All right, hey guys, so what we're looking at today, and I apologize for not making this sooner. I assumed there would have been one with these being as popular as they are, is the Crye zip-off pack panel 2.0. When the AVS came out, they had the original back panels, and then when they kind of redid their entire lineup and redid pricing and everything, and the uniforms got a lot more expensive and the vests got a lot cheaper, they redid the pack panels and they basically doubled in cost. So this thing, direct from Crye, I think is about 220 bucks. They're sized to the vests, so you gotta obviously know which JPC or which AVS you have, and then by the corresponding size. I think you can go one up, one down. They're in every color that they sell everything else in, so you can get them in solid colors and whatnot, but 220 bucks, and this is the 2.0. So I've never had the original, so I can't really compare and contrast. I believe the original fit the plate bag a little bit more closely. You'll see there's a good bit of overhang down here, but that is not without value, and it may not look as appealing, but I think it adds to the functionality of this thing. So we'll go through it because there's a lot going on in here, and Crye does a pretty good job of highlighting some of the features of this, but they don't really hit on some of the other ones as well as they could have, and there's a lot to this thing. So we'll start outside in. So Crye has these loops here, and they showcase these on the website, and they mention that you can use them to store charges or similar items. I don't know how you would store a charge on there, but they work well for antennas if you want to take the time to wire them in there. All right, down on the bottom here you have dual side access mag pouches. And they will fit PMags with a little bit of finagling in there. It'll sit a little bit closer. If you wanted to use that but you didn't want as much overhang, you could put a 20 round mag in there, and you would kind of forget it's there until you needed it. But they open both directions. USGI mags are going to go in there even easier, and they fit fine as well. You cannot fit anything bigger than an M4 mag though, so a goofy 5.56 mag isn't going to fit. You're definitely not fitting 7.62, and I would not recommend putting an AK mag in there because that hook is going to catch real bad. Okay. It's got some stretch panel on the sides, and then the face is Cordura. So Crye doesn't list a capacity for this thing, and I would imagine, one, because it's not a real backpack, and two, the stretch panel would make that really hard to measure. So they don't list one, and I can't even begin to guess what the actual number value of the capacity is. There's a Velcro field here. It's pretty big, so all of your patches and whatnot, you might be able to run some sort of equipment on there if you wanted, some elastic loops on there or something. I don't know, your imagination's the limit there. There's a zippered pocket on this lid that you fit a cell phone in there real easy. Maybe like an iPhone Plus model would fit in there, but it's not a huge pocket, but it would be good for some loose tools or something like that. When you open that up, you get kind of a tri-zip type effect here. So there's a button snap for reinforcement, and then a zippered opening, and it opens nice and wide. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for a back panel pack. Just based on how you're going to use this thing, you're going to have to figure out if that's good or not for you. It has pockets on pockets in here. So there's a big mesh pocket on the back face there, and then that has a Velcro closure, and then there's two half-size mesh pockets on the face of that. So those might be kind of tricky to see, but they will swallow up an M4 mag no problem. You could fit a block of C in there. Not saying that you would want to, but it would fit in there. You'd probably go too wide even and be fine. And then there's some tie down loops across the top. These are not elastic, they're just nylon, but they're not super tight. So you could put chem lights or something in there if you wanted to. I don't know, fielder's choice there. And then there's a tab in the top here if you're hanging a bladder or something. Right? There's nothing on the stretch panels on the inside. It would be kind of cool and to maybe have some elastic loop there or something to keep stuff on the side panel, but it's not there. Right? And just to give you an idea of capacity on this thing, a Crye fits in there, but you can't close the lid. So I was playing around with this, and if that's something you wanted to do, you take the lid, open this mesh pocket here, tuck the lid in there, and then Velcro that mesh pocket to your lid. And then the Crye fits in there pretty well. If you were super worried about that thing coming out, you could easily make a little shock tube loop to run from the top of this thing over and just tie it to that piece of webbing there, and that would fit fine. Right, some other things going on with this thing. The bottom of this pack pulls out, and Crye does a pretty good job of showing this on the website. But you split the bottom of the pack here with some Velcro keeping that closed, and then the bottom of the pack drops out here. Now there's two different modes you can run this in. There's an open bottom mode, so if you have a hooligan or something, the bottom of the handle, if it runs long enough, will come out of there, and I'll show you that in a minute. Or you can invert this and seal it up, and then it just gives you a little extension on the pack body. So if you have a linear tool that has nothing to stop it on the top, it creates an actual bottom on that, and you fold it inside out, so it's not just a piece of Velcro keeping it shut. The pocket is inverted, and it really can't split open on you. All right, so to show you how that works, the pack panel here pulls away, and this is the back pocket there. It's got these two tabs here, and Crye says you can use these a couple of different ways. You can use them to either divide this pocket, so if you have two tools running side by side, you can keep them from banging into each other with those. And you just do that by Velcroing this pocket, and it kind of works like a shingle, or you can tuck it behind the pack panel, and it's a good bit more secure there. So to show you how that works, I've got a Detonation Technology hot stick here. So that is how it works if you had a hooligan in there, something where the top would catch on the pocket. You can run it going straight through the pocket like that, or you just flip that pocket inside out, and then it's a sealed bottom. So if you have something like the hot stick that's obviously not going to catch on that opening up top, it'll keep it from running out. And then for my techs out there that are watching this, I don't know how much value this is, but you can do a hot stick and the Crye, and it fits in there pretty well. The hot stick is going to bang on your helmet a little bit depending on what you're doing, but it's not awful. It cants off to the side just enough to kind of clear your helmet. It's going to stick up a little bit further than your head, but I would wager if you had nods on or something and they were flipped up, the hot stick is really no higher than the nods flipped up, so you're not really increasing your height too much. If you're working out of helos, it might be a little bit of a consideration, but again, it's not a huge thing. And you might be able to find a shorter hot stick that fits closer to flush. The only downside here is with the Crye in there, there's more room in here. You could absolutely fit some other stuff, but if you pull the Crye out, it's going to kind of fall in, and then you're not going to be able to get the Crye back in there very well. And aside from that, you're also not going to really have a buddy that's able to do that, because you're basically going to have to open this and push everything back out to the sides. Now you could use the pockets. You could keep a little bit of stuff in there. I wouldn't go super crazy. But you could have a drop charger too if you had the rest of your setup elsewhere on your kit, so you have a couple blocks in there. Maybe you could put some cold weather gear at the bottom and just have the Crye on top of that. You've still got enough in there that it's not going to fall out on you. All told, I think it's a pretty good product. I'm going to play around with it a little bit more next week and see how I like it. It does its job. I don't know the best way to run it. I don't know what other people are putting in there. You know, obviously you can put a bladder in there and whatnot, and you can have the cold weather gear. You could have a little bit of sustainment stuff, but actually working out of the pack, even with a buddy, I don't know the best options there. So if you've got any tips, please leave me a comment. Let me know what you're putting in there. I'd love to play around with it a little bit more. You're only as creative as what you think to put in there. So if you guys got ideas, let me know and I'll try them out. Hopefully this showcased some of the differences from the 1.0 if you had one of those, or just showed you some of the stuff on the 2.0 that you may or may not have known about. And then the last thing that I forgot is I'll show you how this attaches to the pack, or to the plate carrier. So you obviously have your zipper, you know, being a zip-on panel. There's a good bit of Velcro on the back here that integrates with the JPC. I don't have an ABS, so I don't know how that works. And then you've got these MOLLE tabs here that you thread through the top row of MOLLE and they snap on. So you don't have true zip-on, zip-off capability, but it really doesn't take more than 5 minutes to put on there. So it's not like running a full MOLLE pack. If you've got the AVS, these bottom ones will also fit in there, but the cummerbund attachment on the JPC gets in the way, so I didn't bother doing that. But it's plenty secure using just the zippers and the Velcro and the top snaps. So I appreciate you guys watching this. If you got any requests, let me know. I'm going to try to knock out a couple more videos this week. Sorry that it's been kind of slow, and I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks.